A warm welcome to everyone. Today is our 14th webinar. And before starting with our webinar, I will request Advocate Vaishali Tikle to give a small introduction about Uday sir.
Good evening, everybody, and very warm welcome to one and all connected for this 14th webinar. Today's topic is a Preconceptional and Prenatal Diagnostic Technique Act 1994, which would be delivered by distinguished speaker, Advocate Uday Vanvarunzikar sir. I am privileged to introduce him. Sir has over 26 years of standing and practicing in the High Court, Mumbai. Sir has handled more than 14,000 cases including public interest litigations. Sir has also authored two Marathi books which are also been translated in English, was a column writer in Daily Sakar and Lok Satta, and was writing about legal issues. Sir has participated in various talk shows as well as TV channels programs. Sir has submitted his research paper on interaction of secular family law and religion in June 2016. Sir was also appointed as legal aid panel advocate with effect from February 10th, 2017, and was appointed a member of expert committee for finalization of syllabus of cyber law in all non-agricultural universities by the state of Maharashtra. He has been twice elected member of Bar Council of Maharashtra and Goa. He has been a ex-vice president of Advocate Association of Western India. Sir is a vice president of Bar, member of advisory board established under Right of Persons with Disability Act 2016, and he was a member of committee constituted by State of Maharashtra for framing standard operating procedure under Transfer of Human Organ Act 1994, and Sir was also a member of committee appointed by Union of India amend preconceptional and prenatal diagnostic technique tools in the year 2013. I welcome you, sir.
Namaskar. It's a pleasure to have one more meeting with all of you. And today's topic is one of the topic which is very close to my heart. Almost last 1 decade, almost more than 10 years, I am associated with this cause. The cause, I'm sure you must have understood by this time. The topic which is typed is having some kind of a typographical mistake on the top. The name of the act is Preconception and Prenatal Diagnostic Technique Act. Now, most of the participants who are on that side, I'm sure they are not aware about this act. But at the end of this session, I can successfully declare that you are the person who have completed the course to understand the provisions of PC and PNDT Act. This is an act which is for the next generation. You will say, what is this? All legislations are having an intention to have a better system for future. But in the true real sense, I will say that this is an act which is having an intention to have a balanced family, balanced society. Now, by reading this act, one can immediately get an idea about something, namely, this is about the child in the womb. This act is having a primary object of protection to those children who are in the womb. Now, of course, we as a student of law, we are having a habit of raising several questions. So therefore, how, why, when, these are the basic questions which are likely to come in the mind of everybody. And as a student of law, I have brought a copy of the Bare Act with me. because I'm sure that this lockdown period, we are not having access to our libraries. Therefore, I will read the object of this particular act or the preamble of this act. I am reading an act to provide for prohibition of the sex selection, before or after conception, and for regulation of prenatal diagnostic technique for the purpose of detecting genetic abnormalities or metabolic disorder or chromosomal abnormalities or certain congenital malformation or sex-linked disorder, and for the prevention of their misuse for sex determination leading to female feticide and for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. Full stop. Oh my God. Such a lengthy object or preamble we can categorize. But let us go back to the law school. In the law school, when we were studying the Contract Act, our teachers have told us a very simple method. What is that simple method? Let us try to cut that entire sentence into a small pieces, and let us try to digest that small piece. At the end of that particular exercise, you will be able to understand the entire definition or entire object clause or entire preamble. So let us read the first line. First line says, an act to provide for prohibition of the sex selection. So therefore, we can draw a conclusion that the object of this act is prohibition of a sex selection. Now, obviously, you are going to ask me, what is this term sex selection? But before answering that, let me complete this part of the reading. This line which I am reading is an act to provide for prohibition of the sex selection, before or after conception. We are aware about the terminology of a word, terminology of a conception. Conceptions means garbhadharana, that is known in the Indian languages. So therefore, before or after conception, sex selection is possible. So in the usual language, we can say that a sex of the child before conception can be selected, as well as sex of the child after conception can be selected. You will be saying, what are you saying, sir? Yes, it is a fact. Now I'll give you some more examples, which will be able, by virtue of which you will be able to understand the concept which the legislators are trying to point out. You might have heard the word designer baby. This designer baby concept is not yet legalized in India. What is this concept? Tomorrow somebody will say that give me a child with a genes of our cricketer Mr. Chiku and a genes of Katrina Kaif or some other combination, and give me a child of that particular desired sex or desired qualities. This is kind of a sex selection before conception. So this is that what is contemplated in this particular sentence. Why? Because the technology is developing with such a rapid speed that whatever which we are using about decade back, around 10 years back, that has become outdated. And the law has to be one step ahead of the technology. The law is having an object to regulate that technology. Let me give a simple example. Let us go back 10 years back. And 10 years back, just imagine what was the size of your own cell phone. You must have, or even I can give an example of a desktop or a laptop or even a computer. 286, 386, 486, Pentium, then the different versions came and the size has changed, the technology has developed with such a rapid speed, and even in this field also the technology is developing very rapidly, and therefore our legislators were required to introduce a legislation. So let us come back to the first line. First line is prohibition of the sex selection. Let us keep this word sex selection in the deep freezer for the time being, and let us understand the real meaning of that particular word little later. But let us keep this phrase as it is. So prohibition of the sex selection before or after conception. Can we draw a conclusion? What is the object of this act? Object is to prohibit the sex selection. Let us go to the second line. Second line says, and regulation of prenatal diagnostic technique for the purpose of detecting, etc., etc., etc. So many medical terminologies are there. We are not student of medicine. We are a student of law. So therefore, I'll suggest that let us keep those terminologies as it is for the time being. But based on the second sentence, we can draw a conclusion that this act is having an object of regulation of a technology. So the first object is prohibition of the sex selection. Second object is regulation of a technology. Now, as a student of law, let me ask you one simple question. You must have come across various such laws which are having an object of prohibition as well as a regulation. You must be saying that, sir, what is this? This is an act which is a new act. No, I'm sorry. This kind of objects were there long back. I'll give an example of an Arms Act. Ultimately, what is this arms? Arm is having a technology. The firearm, I'll give an example. Firearm is again a technology. Nobody is saying that technology is wrong. Nobody is saying that technology is bad. Nobody is saying that the technology is required to be banned. But every legislation says that technology needs a regulation. Let us consider a different such enactment like information technology, where you will find regulation. Like the Arms Act, I give an example. Motor Vehicle Act, because there is again a technology. So many such acts are there. Even the Telegraph Act, then even the all the n number of such examples we can list, which are having an object of prohibition of certain thing and a regulation of a technology. So what is this technology? So technology is known as prenatal diagnostic technique. Let us keep this terminology again in the deep freezer. So we have kept two words, namely sex selection and prenatal diagnostic technique in the deep freezer. We are going to utilize that afterwards. So the first sentence says sex selection to be prohibited before or after. Second is regulation of this technology. Now the third sentence of this object is and for the prevention of their misuse for sex determination leading to female feticide. Oh my God. Now this female feticide is having a similarity with the word genocide. Let us go back to 1942. In 1942, Second World War was there. And we are aware that in the history book, we have read that Hitler committed murder of lakhs of Jews. Now, do we say that that is assassination? Do we say that that is a murder? No, no. We call it as a genocide. So that genocide concept is somewhat similar to the female feticide. And what is that? What is that wording in the act? Act says prevention of their misuse. Whose misuse? The technology's misuse. So prevention of misuse of the technology for sex determination leading to female feticide. What is this terminology of a sex determination? That means after conception, the sex determination is also possible. The child, whatever is the sex of that child in the womb, if somebody tries to find out the sex of that particular child, then it is possible that it may lead to female feticide. In a common language, if it is found that the pregnant mother or a pregnant woman is having a daughter or having a girl in the womb, then there is a tendency to eliminate that child. Elimination of that child is known as female feticide. Why this is happening? Let us consider the Indian scenario. Indian scenario shows that we are having a patriarchal system. In a patriarchal system, Karta is a male person. In this system, we are having a system of a dowry. Our system is based on the simple such a different faith which have been criticized for years together. As a result of that, in various societies or in various communities in the entire country, the female child are not yet welcomed. It's a matter of fact. Now you will say that how we are concerned with that? We are a student of law. Equally, as a student of law, you will ask me a proof. The proof is this, that whenever there is a technology which is giving access to such kind of exercises, the sex ratio in that locality has decreased. Now, let us consider the history about such technologies. Somewhere in 1975 to 1980, one gentleman doctor prepared a research paper and he was a person who found that wherever there was an access to such machines which were at that point of time known as a sonography machine, there used to be a imbalance of the sex ratio. Let us go back around 25 years back in the Mumbai, in the local train. All of you must have seen a advertisement in the local train. Spend rupees 5,000 today and save rupees 5 lakh in future. What was that advertisement? That advertisement was of an abortion center. Namely, the concept was very simple, that if you find that there is a girl in the womb, then eliminate that and save an expenses of rupees 5 lakh, which you are going to incur for the marriage of that particular daughter. So therefore, that was a mentality. There is a son preference mindset of our society. How to change this mindset? There are different ways to change this mindset, but it takes time. If we say that the mindset can be changed by introduction of some kind of education, educate them, sensitize them, give them some more facilities, then it is correct that it will take 100 years or more than that. You will say, what are you talking, sir? I'll give another example. Let us go back to the child marriages. About child marriages, almost around last 100 years, we are having a legislative history, and up till now, the age of the marriage we could have pushed up to hardly 15 or 16 years only. In Maharashtra also, there are large number of child marriages are taking place even today. Let us consider about widows remarriage. Let us go back 125 years back. If you recollect, in the history book, we have read the name Vidyasagar, a philosopher from West Bengal, Calcutta. He was a person who propagated and who rather devoted time for remarriage of a widow, or Maharishi Dondakarve in Pune. These are the persons who have done substantial thing, but till today, the widow's remarriage is treated as not that simple, because we are having a mindset of son preferences and there is a patriarchal society. So therefore, if we go in that direction, namely, let us educate them, let us give them some more trainings, let us give them sensitize them, let us try to do something better for all kind of children, let us give some incentive to the daughters. All these are possible things, but it is time consuming. So therefore, legislators came with a legislation, because whenever there is a immediate action which is required, then whenever a person is not well, we are going to a doctor and requesting that please start antibiotic. So this is an antibiotic which has been given to the Indian society. Why? Let us go back to the Census Act. In the Census Commission, Census of India website, you will find every 10-year data is disclosed by them, and it is uploaded on the website. So somewhere in 2001, you will be surprised that in 2001, the then Census Commissioner came with one more introduction which was made online, saying that missing daughters. He found while scrutinizing the 2001 census data that large number of daughters have gone missing. Those daughters, where they have gone, they have been eliminated, because the parents found that to bear that particular child, or parents were not happy with that child, or parents were trying to get rid of that particular girl child. So therefore, thousands and lakhs of such kind of examples were noted in 2001 census, which accelerated a amendment in this act. So therefore, now let us conclude the reading of this act. This act, the title is Preconception and Prenatal Diagnostic Technique and Prohibition of the Sex Selection Act 1994. So therefore, what is that two words which we have kept, that we are keeping in mind, that is a sex selection and prenatal diagnostic technique. But before going to the next topic, let me point out what are the things which are prohibited under this act. Because as I said that we as a student of law will have to find out what is prohibited, and we'll have to also find out what is that kind of a opportunity which a lawyer will get arising out of this act. This act essentially contemplates that determination of the sex is prohibited. That is section 6. Those who are interested, those persons can write down the section, that is determination of the sex is prohibited. Then section 3 capital A says that the prohibition of the sex is prohibited. So that sex selection and sex determination, these are the two words which we have seen in the early stage of this session. So therefore, prohibition of the sex selection, prohibition of the sex determination that we have seen. This also says that section 3 capital B says that prohibition on sale of ultrasound machine etc. to the person, laboratories, clinic not registered under the act. This is because of that regulatory object. What is that regulatory object? Regulation of the technology. So therefore, whosoever who want to utilize this technology, he will have to register himself or herself under this act. So therefore, it becomes a license, Raj. The person will have to obtain a license for utilization of such technologies. Obviously, I am going to point out what are those regulatory mechanism which is provided under the act. One more important aspect is this, that Section 5 subsection 2 of this act says that no person, including the person conducting prenatal diagnostic procedure, shall communicate to the pregnant woman concerned or her relative or any other person the sex of the fetus by the word, sign, or in any other manner. Let me try to elaborate this very within a couple of minutes. It says that no person will communicate the sex of the fetus in the womb, including the person conducting that particular test, namely the technician, namely the doctor or the technician who has been employed. Those persons are prohibited from communicating the sex of the fetus. How to communicate? The communication can be by words, so therefore words is prohibited. It can be by sign, that is also prohibited. Now there is something interesting case which is reported from Bida district of state of Maharashtra. Certain NGO persons were suspecting that the activities are being conducted in one sonography center where they suspected that large number of illegal activities which are in contravention of this act are being conducted. So therefore, they were keeping watch. A sonography, a mother goes in the sonography center, she comes out with a report saying that the age of the child in the womb is 16 months. Some mother comes with a 19 month, 16 month, 19 month, 16 month, 19 month. That used to be a consistent pattern so far as the marking on that file is concerned. So far as 16 month girl is 16 month mother is concerned, she was advised to go to the local deity and offer peda, and so far as the 19-week mother is concerned, she was advised to go for abortion. So these are the cases which were noted. At one point of time, they realized that no, these are the code words. 16 weeks is mentioned on each file. That means there is a one boy in the womb. So therefore, they said that go to the local deity and offer a peda. And wherever it was mentioned that 19 weeks means one girl is there. So therefore, medical termination of pregnancy was advised to them. So therefore, correct, now 16 is a boy, 19 is a girl. This kind of a sign language was developed by them. This is something very strange. Therefore, the enactment says that not by words, not by sign or any other manner. Let me give you one more simple illustration. Now, by any other manner means how? You must have seen that the sonography machine is like a small computer, and the premises which is required for the purpose of conducting this test is one area where the patient can lie down, one attendant, and maybe a doctor. So these are the three persons who will be there inside. So somewhere around 6 feet by 4 feet or 6 feet by 5 feet is the entire area which can be required maximum, rather minimum, for conducting this test. So therefore, what is the technology? I'm sure those who are participants on that side, they must be having a first-hand experience. When I had a road traffic accident in the year 2000, I was also required to have a sonography. Therefore, I am also having a first-hand experience. There is a screen. On that screen, you will get a picture like a laptop or a computer. There will be a CPU, a central process unit. Now, in a laptop or a computer, we are using a mouse. Instead of that, there will be a probe. That probe will find out what is there in the womb. There will be a gel which will be applied on the probe. Probe will pass on certain waves through the stomach, and the stomach will give a picture on the screen. Wherever those waves are obstructed, that will give a complete picture on the screen. That is a concept, that is a technology. So therefore, in that technological room or in that sonography center, on the left hand side, there is a photo frame of Siddhivinayak. And on the right hand side, there is a photo frame of Satya Sai Baba or a Sai Baba. And during performing the test, the person who is performing a test bows down in front of a Siddhivinayak temple and says that Jai Mata Di. Sorry, he says that there is a Mumbai Devi in Mumbai, so therefore I will give an example of a frame of Mumbai Devi, and he said Jai Mata Di. That's a communication of the sex of the fetus. On the other hand, if he finds that there is a boy, he said Satya Sai Baba ki Jai Ho. So this is communication of the sex of the fetus. So how are we going to prove such kind of the things? So therefore the act contemplates that it should not be communicated by words, sign or any other manner. It should not be communicated to the pregnant woman. It also says that it should not be communicated to her relative. Why? Because we are considering a issue of mindset of the society. And a number of such examples are there when the pregnant mother are pressurized by the family members for taking a favorable decision. So therefore, it should not be communicated to the relative of that mother. That kind of a provision is already made. Now, this is one of the provision. And now let us go back to the important aspect of section 22, which contemplates that prohibition of an advertisement relating to preconception and prenatal, etc., etc., etc. Now, we as a student of law, we must have come across different legislations which are directly or indirectly relating to the offenses about the advertisement. And you will be surprised, there are hardly not more than 10 such legislations which are with reference to the advertisement. There are very few enactments which are prohibiting the advertisement. We are lawyers, we are a student of law. We are aware that we can't go and give an advertisement of advertisement regarding our own profession. So therefore, that kind of a prohibition is there. But this prohibition under section 22 covers 4 different aspects, namely issuance of an advertisement, 2, publishing of an advertisement, 3, distribution of an advertisement, and 4th, most important is communication of an advertisement. So therefore, person who is issuing, person who is publishing, person who is distributing, person who is communicating. Now something interesting, a newspaper boy which comes with some kind of a handbill, if he is circulating the newspaper along with a handbill and that handbill contains a advertisement about the PC and PNDT issue, then what are you going to do about this? Whether that boy circulating the newspaper can be called as a person who is circulating or distributing the advertisement? Yes, it is possible. Now, there are some cases which are still going on in the state of Rajasthan as well as in Maharashtra, where the IVF centers have published an advertisement which were misleading advertisement, and those were giving indication to the son preferences instead of showing a neutral child in the advertisement. So therefore, those cases are also pending. But this act is having, as I said, that this act is having a object of covering the future society. So therefore, the amendment was made in the year 2002, which says that the advertisement on the internet are also prohibited. Now, as a student of law, I must ask you a simple question. Let us try to understand which are those acts which are regulating the advertisement on the internet. Let us do that homework. You will come to know that there is a vacuum. If you are getting an advertisement on the email, what you will say? You will say spam. Where is prohibition? You will say information technology. I'm sorry. Let us go to the Information Technology Act and find out where is that prohibition. You are getting several advertisement on a WhatsApp. If you are using a Facebook, then there are sponsored advertisement, sponsored pages which are coming up frequently. These are the advertisements on the internet, and unfortunately, there is no such law which regulate, which prohibit the advertisement on the internet. You may say that there is a DND registered so far as the calling is concerned. Despite that, you are getting large number of marketing calls. There is no such law as on today which prohibit advertisement on internet in India. Let us realize the vacuum. So therefore, the job of a legislative draftsman become more important. He will have to prepare a new law, new legislation, which will be for the future. So therefore, this act is intending to cover the advertisements on the internet also. One interesting issue is going on. There is one activist by name Dr. Sabu George, who is actively in this field for last almost 15-20 years. He is a petitioner in the petition filed in the Honorable Supreme Court. He said that the respondents herein are flouting the provisions of PCI and PNDT Act. Who were the respondent? Google, Microsoft, Yahoo, Bingo. These were the four respondents who were violating the provisions of this act. According to him, he was saying that on their website they are having their Google search engine or Microsoft search engine, Yahoo search engine or Bingo search engine, and they are giving immediate free access to the technologies which are required to be prohibited or regulated under this act. And now the legal question came up. Those companies were having their offices and the servers outside the territory of India. How are you going to execute any order, whether or even how a Supreme Court of India can pass an order with reference to those persons who are having their offices, who are having their servers outside the territory of the India? Supreme Court is dealing with that issue. Supreme Court appointed a nodal agency. Those companies were asked to give an undertaking whether they are willing to abide by the provisions of this act. Then ultimately the matter was required to be adjourned from time to time. The companies took time, substantial time for giving a feedback, and we are successful in getting an undertaking from all those four companies, because they were apprehending that if we say that we are not going to abide by the principles of this particular law or Indian statute, then we may lose the market of around 125 crore population in India. Therefore, all those four service providers, four search engines, they have already given an undertaking, and therefore as on today we are saved. But still the technological issue is concerned. There are such certain websites where you can get this information. There are some kind of apps where such informations are available, and the cases are being filed against them. So there is section 22. Now something interesting what is important is we as a student of law, a question is going to come that how are you going to prove this offense? In the Hindi it is said that Mia Bibi Razi to kya karega Kazi. The alleged offense under this act is taking place within the four corners. As a result of that, the mother, the pregnant woman, the father, the father of that child, both are ready. The doctor or the service provider is ready, or a technician is ready. So therefore, now who are going to bail the cat? How are you going to prove that particular misuse of the technology? Therefore, the regulation was introduced in this act. So therefore, section 18 contemplates that the person who want to use this, he will have to obtain a license. He will have to maintain a record of every patient. There is a form F under this act. The rules have provided that format. That form F contemplate that will be something like a mirror so far as the every patient is concerned. The details, the reason, the medical history, everything will be there. Those data will have to be maintained by the doctor or the technician service provider. Not only that, once in a month, he will have to submit a report about how many number of cases he has done in that month. There is a SOB which was introduced in the Kolhapur district of state of Maharashtra, and later on in the Rajasthan also the same has been introduced successfully. That is known as a silent observer. In the sonography machine, there will be a device which will be installed, and that installation of a device which will make a immediate reporting of use of that particular machine to the appropriate authority. What is this appropriate authority? Appropriate authority is a authority created under the act for implementation of this act. The appropriate authority is having different functions, including creating awareness, implementation, then filing a cases, then prosecuting those persons, several such functions are there. We need not go into the details of that particular so many things which are provided under section 17. That appropriate authority is having a power of the civil court, namely production of the witness, production of the document, summoning of the person, conducting search, seizure, etc. These are the powers which are available to a magistrate also, or a civil court. Those powers are given to the appropriate authority. In the state of Maharashtra, there are two cadres of the appropriate authority. One is medical cadre, namely, so far as the district is concerned, civil surgeon is head of that entire district. And so far as the municipal corporation is concerned, corporation area is concerned, the medical health officer of the municipal corporation will be in charge of that area. And there will be several other medical officers who have been appointed. Along with that, the state of Maharashtra has introduced a model of appointing revenue authorities also as a appropriate authority. They are supposed to assist the medical appropriate authorities. What they are supposed to do, they are supposed to seize those machines if it is found that those machines are involved in commission of an offense. If they found that there is some incriminating material, then they can search that premises or conduct a seizure also. So that kind of a work is also permitted. Now the act contemplates that there are different provisions under the rule, like maintenance of different register in the particular format, then display of notice board saying that the sex selection and sex determination is not taking place in this center, then display of the certificate, also certificate of registration, then keeping one copy of the book available in that center. All these things are provided under the rules, and those rules are enforced by the competent authority, namely the appropriate authority under this act. Now, this act contemplates that if there is some kind of a misuse of technology is happening, then there are two remedies which are possible. One, the remedy of suspension of a license and consequential termination of that license or the registration in respect of that machine. And the second is a criminal action. There were certain cases which were filed before Different High Court, including the Bombay High Court, saying that once suspension of a license has taken place, then there is no need to prosecute that person because he is highly qualified. But the Honorable Bombay High Court as well as the Honorable Supreme Court has also upheld the validity of different provisions of the law. And ultimately, the logic seems to be that one wrong may give rise to different remedies under different statute. Let me give an illustration. There is a case of acceptance of a bribe by the public servant. What is going to happen? He will be arrested, and under the Prevention of Corruption Act, he will be prosecuted before the Lieutenant Chief Judicial Magistrate or the Metropolitan Magistrate in Mumbai. And in addition to this, there will be a departmental inquiry and consequential termination if the allegations are or the charges are proved. So therefore, there are two remedies. I'll give another illustration for better understanding. Take a case that there is a motor accident. If there is a motor accident, then a case under section 279 of punishable under section 279 of the IPC for rash and negligent driving is possible. In addition to this, motor accident claim tribunal petition MSCP is also permissible. So therefore, one action may give rise to two or more different remedies. So the Bombay High Court said that this is permissible. So therefore, mere suspension can't be a ground for not taking further action. Why the medical fraternity and the technicians as well as the service providers are getting agitated against this act? There are several reasons, because this is a super specialty field, namely a radiology. You must be aware that for doing this kind of or acquiring this kind of a qualification, very few seats are there. But there are donations which are charged in a private colleges, and substantial heavy donations are being charged for providing the this kind of a super specialty knowledge. So this is about the sonography. But now in the new generation, namely the new era, the IVF centers are also now brought under the purview of this act. The central government has issued certain standard operating procedures and the guidelines as well as the FAQ so far as the IVF centers are concerned, what they are supposed to maintain, what they are supposed to do. I'll raise a simple question in front of all of you. You must have seen that nowadays these IVF centers are spread in Mumbai, in Thane, in virtually all metropolitan cities in Maharashtra. And through that IVF, most of the children who have been delivered to the parents are male. Most of them are male. The usual balance, namely 50-50 or 51-49, is getting imbalanced. How can there be a male child which is begotten out of using IVF technique? That creates a question. That means there is something which is happening in the laboratory of a IVF center by virtue of which the sex of the child is determined or sex is selected prior to conception. I'll give you another example, and which is going to raise another question. You must have come across the surrogacy. The surrogacy is also one of the technology. Surrogacy technology is now again misused for selecting the sex of the fetus. I'll raise a question. In the India, most of the children who have been given birth by using the surrogacy technology, those are male. How can this happen? In each and every case, why there is a male child which is getting birth out of using the surrogacy technique? That means again in the surrogacy something is happening, namely selection of the sex of the fetus before conception, namely some kind of a provision, some kind of a breach of this provisions of the act. So sex selective surrogacy, sex selective IVF technique, these are also the violations of principles of this act in future. In addition to this, sex selective abortion is also one of the things which is covered under this act. So these are the three things which are of the next generation. Sonography was of the earlier generation. Now the next challenges are with reference to these three different things which are coming up before the entire society. Now this act contemplates that there will be a offense which is punishable up to the imprisonment of 3 years, and there will be a fine of 10,000 rupees. For a subsequent offense, there will be a 5 years and 50,000. These are the sentences which are provided. So anybody who commits a breach of the provisions of the act or rules, he or she, those persons will be prosecuted. Now this prosecution will be before the learned magistrate. So so far as Mumbai is concerned, in Mumbai, the court at Dadar and court at Vile-Parle, these are the two designated courts so far as the metropolitan magistrate courts are concerned, dealing with the offences about the Mumbai region. And so far as this act is concerned, the Shindewadi court at Dadar is the learned judge who has been designated. So far as Thane is concerned, there is a separate judge. So far as the Navi Mumbai area is concerned, again there is a separate judge. So these are the honorable judges where such cases are getting filed. Now there is also one more thing, namely section 23 subsection 2, which contemplates that if a technician is found, his technician or the service provider is shown as an accused, then his name is required to be referred to the medical council so that his name can be suspended from the role maintained by that medical council. So likewise, Advocate Act, we are having a mechanism that if there is a person who want to practice in Maharashtra, he will have to register himself or herself with the Bar Council of Maharashtra and Goa. So there is an advocate role. On the same line, there is a doctor's role maintained by Maharashtra Medical Council. So therefore, if there is a technician or a service provider or a doctor who is shown as an accused in respect of this act, then the suspension of a license. And if that person is convicted, then after conviction, his sanad will be removed, his name will be removed, and sanad will be taken back for a period of 5 years for the first offense, and for a second offense permanently. There is a provision. Now there is a safeguard which says that if the charges are framed, then and then only suspension can be referred. So therefore there is a safeguard which is provided. Now so far as such cases are concerned, a question is going to come that what will happen if the in-laws are trying to pressurize, or in-laws have pressurized the mother, and they have rather pushed or forced the mother to undergo such technology and go for and commission of such things which are prohibited under the Act. Section 23 subsection 3 contemplates that any person who is doing this, aiding and abetting, can also be prosecuted. I can cite an example of a case which was from the Sangli district, where the husband was also prosecuted and he was also convicted, because there was a sufficient evidence to show that he was pressurizing the pregnant wife to undergo such inspections, such use of technology, and sex selective abortion was attempted. So therefore that husband was also convicted. These are the certain cases, but as I said, that the question is, how are we going to prove? There is a presumption which is created under section 24, which says that the pregnant woman is protected. There is a presumption that she was compelled. All right, but how are we going to prove? Because we need some kind of evidence. We need some evidence on the touchstone of an Indian Evidence Act, because there is a punishment. If we are going to convict a person, then we need a sufficient piece of evidence which can be accepted, which can be termed as a sufficient evidence in the eyes of law. Now let us go back to the framework of the Indian Evidence Act. There can be oral evidence, there can be documentary evidence. But as I said, that the arrage offense is likely to take place within the four corners of the wall, so therefore there cannot be an eyewitness. So therefore what is possible? The sting operation is possible, and there are several cases in the state of Maharashtra as well as in the India in which the decoy witnesses were examined. Those decoy witnesses were the volunteers who were the pregnant mother, who went to the doctor, who tape recorded the entire conversation, who audio recorded or video recorded that entire conversation, and based on that they approached the appropriate authority and the cases were filed. So there can be a evidence of this nature. There can be documentary evidence. As I told, that there is a regulatory object, so therefore the license is provided, then maintenance of the record is there, then other different aspects are there. So if there is a breach of any of those permission, then again there is a provision which is saying that those documentary evidence can be provided, can be produced before the court of law. But this is also not likely to happen in certain cases, because ultimately the information which is going to come to a service provider will depend on the person who is providing that information. It may be true, it may not be true. So therefore what is provided? Now therefore there is a presumption which is created, like a provisions of the Negotiable Instrument Act, that says that if the person fails to prove, then there is a presumption. I'll read that. Provided that the person conducting ultrasonography on a pregnant woman shall keep complete record thereof in the clinic in such manner as may be prescribed, and any deficiency or inaccuracy found therein, I'm sorry, I'm reading that once again. Deficiency or inaccuracy found therein shall amount to contravention of the provisions of section 5 or 6, unless contrary is proved by the person conducting such ultrasonography. So there is a presumption which is created. The presumption is rebuttable. That rebuttable presumption is on the service provider. That service provider is capable of rebutting that presumption. So this is a special provision which has been made. Now question is going to come that why such things are happening, and why let us consider a situation. What is the importance of this act? Take a case that this legislation is not there in the statute book, and there is no such steps which are taken by the central government or the state government. Then what is going to happen? Then I'll give an illustration that your mother, your wife, or your daughter, they are gone in the market, and there will not be any guarantee that they will be safe in the market, or they will be safe in the temple, they will be safe in the public places. Why? Because I'll give an illustration in the state of Maharashtra, more particularly in the Beed district, more particularly in the Kolhapur district, more particularly in the entire settle belt from the sugar belt, then banana belt, up to from Jalgaon up to Kolhapur, Sangli, Pune, Ahmednagar, Jalgaon. This is the Nasik. This is the belt where large number of such cases are found. So therefore, in that area, there will be a disturbance so far as the balance of the sex ratio. In other words, take a case that 100 boys are born, then against that 100 boys, there will be deficit of the girls. In other words, the girls will be lesser in number. So therefore, if there are 10 boys which are born in that particular area, and if there is no such legislation, and if there is a misuse of the technology and interference with the natural balance, then there will be 8 or 7 daughters which will be born. Now those 10 boys or those 7 girls or 8 girls, when they will attain puberty or when they will have a desire to have their own family, most of the persons will not be able to do that. Then what is going to happen? They are likely to commit an offenses which are which can be called as a sex offenses or sexual offenses. What it is likely to happen? It is likely to create such an imbalance in the society, such a unrest in the society. Such things are required to be prohibited now and now only. Therefore, this is an act which is about the future. Now, as a student of law, what we can do? We, as a student of law, if you are convinced that this act is most important or this act is going to give you something important, then let us try to accept and implement the provisions of the act. What you can do as an individual, you can contest such matters, you can help such implementation of such act, you can start implementing the principles which are highlighted and in this act. You can do several things which are permissible and possible under the scheme of the act. You can be an NGO, you can be an individual person, you can report to the state government. There is a website also which is provided. There is a toll-free number which is also provided. You can celebrate the birth of a girl child. You can congratulate the couples who have given birth to the girl child. There are different ways how you can do different things. There are different permutation combination. As a student of law, if you are invited for a lecture, you can definitely deliver a lecture on this point. If you are in a college as a part-time lecturer, you can conduct certain examination. If you are a active person in your locality, then conduct some competition around this particular topic. These are the things which you can do. There is a sky is the limit for creativity, and therefore I think that everybody's contribution is required for implementation of this act. Now, coming back to the square number 1, I feel very proud that I registered myself after completion of 22 years of a practice for PhD, and under this act, I am the first person who has been awarded PhD in the field of law so far as this act is concerned. And by grace of God, I can share with you that I am a person who has secured maximum number of conviction under this act. I was invited and I am getting invited even now to teach this act to the honorable judges, honorable public prosecutors, and several government officers. It was a wonderful occasion to meet all of you. I know it's an 11th hour because I am told that there was some other honorable speaker and there was some technical problems. So therefore, I was asked whether I can come and deliver this lecture. It was a pleasure to meet all of you once again during this lockdown period. Stay safe, stay home, and let us try to implement the provisions of the act, and let us try to save the child, namely the girl child, for next generation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for such informative lecture. I think this is our first experience with this topic because many of us had asked okay, what exactly it is. So I was just telling you it is very new for me also. So even I would be one of the students.
Unfortunately or fortunately, we are having a very limited number of cases. So therefore, most of the participants who are on that side, they might not get a first-hand experience to deal with those cases. But it is better to have a introduction of this act, and wherever possible, you can try to assist in implementation of provisions of this act. Now
Okay.
there is a question why IVF center is not prohibited. Sorry, IVF center is using a technology. The prohibition of the technology is not there. Regulation of a technology is there. Nobody will say that prohibit that technology. We don't want to go back into 19th century. We are in the 21st century. So therefore, regulation of the technology is there. So therefore, IVFs are also regulated. There will be a further amendment in the act or the rules with reference to the IVF centers. So therefore, sex selective surrogacy, sex selective IVF center treatment, these are the issues which are going to come in near future.
There is one question. It is like your views on the law follows technology and is reactive in nature.
Technology, we as a student of law, we always feel that the law has to be one step ahead of the technology. If technology is going with such a rapid speed, and if we lag behind, then I am afraid tomorrow there will be such a situation that we'll have to repent. So therefore, it is required that the law will have to be made to control that technology, and it should be one step ahead. Reactiveness of a law, I'm afraid the terminology may not be correct, but I'll try to mold it. The law has to be proactive so far as the use of technology is concerned. I'll give an illustration. Example from Bombay. Sonography centers are having a machine which is kept in at one fixed place, but there were portable sonography machines. So therefore, a litigation was going on in the Bombay High Court. I assisted in that case also, and the division bench of Bombay High Court said that we will have to interpret that terminology to mean that not only a standstill machine, but a portable machine is also regulated under the act. So therefore, that is some kind of a proactive nature which was there. So therefore, this is possible.
What is the law regarding IVF?
This is an act which is regulating the misuse of a technology. There is no separate enactment so far as the IVF is concerned. Now there is something designer babies are rampant in the developed countries, and there are laws to regulate the same. You are right. In India, it is costly. So therefore, in near future, maybe another decade, wait for just 10 years, that there will be a law to regulate designer babies. We'll have to prepare for the next generation also.
I think there are no more questions now. Okay, I'll just check.
As expected, because it's a new topic for most of the participants. But I'm thankful to the organizers. I'm sorry, there is one thing. If the mother do not wish to terminate the pregnancy, but her in-laws and husbands are asked to terminate, how she will lodge a complaint. There is a interesting, this is beyond the scope of this today's act, but I can share with you, there is a MTP Act which gives a uncontrolled, unfettered, exclusive right to the pregnant woman to take a decision about the abortion. A case was filed before the Allahabad bench of Lucknow bench of Allahabad High Court, in which the husband was making a complaint against the wife. Wife was a respondent. He said that, sir, I have 50% partnership in the child which my wife is carrying, and I have learned that she is going to terminate the pregnancy. So please issue an injunction restraining my wife. The court said that, sorry, it's a very interesting issue. Petition admitted, no interim relief. Why? Because the section 4 of that MTP Act contemplates that it's a mother who is supposed to take the decision, not even her husband, nor mother-in-law, or nor other persons are having any right or having any say in that scheme of that. Once a lady becomes pregnant, the biological changes which are likely to happen in her body are considered while framing the law, and consequently, she is the only person who can take a decision. She can lodge a complaint through concerned appropriate authority, to whom she will have to approach.
Okay, there are two more questions. If a doctor is selling medicine for conceive of son, whether he is punished?
Yes, it is possible under this act. It is permissible. This issue is covered. So therefore, there are some persons who are saying that I can give you guarantee that there will be a male child. If that person is selling such medicines or giving such guarantee, of course, that is punishable under the Act, because ultimately there are several such cases which are happening, and such claims are carried to the court of law, and those persons have been punished.
Does this law applies to minor girls who becomes pregnant?
Any pregnant mother, so any pregnant lady, including the mother also, that is covered.
Yeah, I think that's it. Any more questions? If you want, please type.
Subsequently, you can pass on those questions. I will reply to the organizers. Organizers can share those questions, those answers to the participants.
Yeah, sure. Okay, thank you, sir, for giving us such an excellent coverage on this topic. I'll request Advocate Vaishali Tikle to give a vote of thanks on behalf of us.
Thank you, Shraddha. What an enthralling lecture, sir, because this was a really very unique topic which we have never heard. So this was a really enlightening session. And as you have rightly said that स्त्रीभ्रूण हत्या खूपदा ऐकलेलं आहे, but then female feticide, what is the prevention was never heard of. So this was really very enlightening, as you have rightly said that we are so new and there are very few queries for that. And I would like to congratulate on behalf of all the viewers for your PhD. And
Thank you.
I would like to thank you for such an enlightening and enthralling lecture, as this is unique topic also. And I would like to thank our technical team. And of course, last but not the least, all the viewers, without whom this event could not have been a success. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.